Hey everyone, welcome back to new series of Python. In today's video, we will be discussing about the data type which is tuple. So we know a tuple is a sequential data type and a tuple is a collection of objects which is separated by commas. In some ways, we can say that tuple is very similar to the Python list in terms of indexing, then repetitions as well as nested objects and all. But the main difference between a tuple and a list is that a tuple is immutable, which means that once a tuple is created, we cannot just modify the tuple. Now let's see how can we create tuple. So there are three ways in which we can just create a tuple. So one of the method is using of the round brackets, and we can just create a tuple with one item, and we can also use the tuple constructor in order to create a tuple. Now here follows the three ways of creation of the tuple with the examples. So first we are just going to create a tuple using the round bracket, and I'll be creating an empty tuple. So let's see how can we create an empty tuple. For that I'll be using the variable as tuple. So as I just give the variable as tuple over here, it is indicated in blue color. Why is it so? Because this is a built-in function and this is a constructor. So a constructor cannot be used as a variable, which we have learned in the previous video or the tutorial of variables. So for that, we have to change the name over here. Let me set the name as capital T. Let's use the tuple as a variable name itself, but you have to change the small letter of T and just set it as capital T. Now it is considered as a variable. Now you can just assign the values. So we know a tuple is basically created using round brackets. So I'll be using the bracket over here, and I'm not providing any objects over here, and let's print this. So as you just print this, you can see that as we don't have any objects inside this tuple is considered as an empty tuple. Now we can just create a tuple with elements or with objects. So let me give the name of this as tuple1, and we can just assign the values. So in case of tuple, we can just provide mixed values, which means that a tuple is heterogeneous. From this, we can simply say that the tuple can have different values such as integer, float, complex, string and all. And let me provide that over here. So I'll be using the string value over here. Okay. And put a comma, and you can use different values such as integer. Then I'll be providing a floating value, 2.5. Well set, we have provided different values, and now let's click on print, and you can find that we have just created a tuple with different objects. So you can provide the name of the object. So object is basically a data variable. So whatever we are providing in Python, all those is treated as a object. We can say that the values that giving for a variable is considered as an object, as well as the variable name that we are just using in Python is also treated as an object. Now, let's see how can we create a tuple using one item. So here you can find the syntax which is given. Like we have to provide the name of the variable, and later on we have to use a colon, then use a constructor and put a square bracket. Within that, you can just give the type that you are just going to use in this tuple, and we just need to assign the values into these variable. Now let's go with an example for creation of the tuple with one item. So I'll be using the name as tuple 3. So let's provide everything over here, such as tuple is a constructor. Then we have to use a square bracket, and we just need to give the types, which is int. Then you can just use the or symbol and provide the other type, which is string, and we can just assign the values into this. So I'm going to assign the values. So in order to assign the values, you have to put the bracket, And later on, you can just give the values. So the first value is integer, and the second value is a string. So you just need to use double quotes, single quotes, or triple quotes in order to just show that it's a string. So I'll be using the string as Q. Now we just need to get the result. To get the results, we have to use the print function and give the object over here. So the name of the object is tuple 3, and you can just run the file and you will be getting an error over here. So why we have just got an error over here? This is because type object does not support item assignment. See, here we have just got a syntax error. Actually, in the syntax, we just told that we have to provide the variable name, then have to put a colon. But instead of colon, we have just used the assignment operator over here. So that's not supported. So we have to replace it with the colon. Now, when you just run the file, you will be getting the correct result. And now we have to keep in mind that, so in case you are generating a tuple with a single element, make sure that you have added a comma after the element. So if you are not providing comma after the element, then that will be not considered as a tuple. So let's find the examples for these cases. So let me provide the name of the tuple as tuple 4, and let's say it has got a value of 7 or 77. Now let's print this. So when I just print the object tuple 4, here you can find the result that it has got the value 77, but it's not a tuple. If it's a tuple, it will be enclosed with a round bracket. So from the result, we can say that it's not a tuple. So let's check the type of this tuple. I mean, not the tuple, the one that we have provided. So you can just print the type of the object and provide the object over here, which is tuple 4. And again, click on print button in order to print that. So from this, we can conclude that currently we have provided an integer. So even if you just use a round bracket, we cannot say that, we cannot say that it's a tuple. So in order to define it as a tuple, if you're using one element or a single element, you have to give a comma after the single element, which is mandatory. Now, we can say this is not a tuple. Okay. Now let's create a tuple with single element. So in order to create a tuple with single element, we know that we have to just put a comma. So let me just give the variable name over here as tuple 5 and give the assignment operator, use the round brackets, and I'll be providing the value as 8, and let's put a comma over here and let's print this. So when you just print, you can see that you will be getting the result in the round bracket, and you can also find the type over here as tuple. So if you want to just print the type of this, use the print function and give the type keyword, which is an inbuilt function to check the type of the variable or the value, and here you can just provide the object, which is tuple, and you can just click on run file and you can see that the class is tuple. So let's say, how can we create a tuple using the constructor? So to create a tuple with a constructor, we will have to pass the elements as its parameter. So we know if we just create a tuple with one element, we have already discussed that we have to put a comma, then only that will be treated as a tuple. So if not, that will be treated as a value. I mean, it can be treated as a string, or it can be an integer, or it can be a float, depending on the values that we are providing. So by using the tuple constructor, we can just do the typecasting over there. So let me just provide the variable name as tuple cons1, and here I'll be providing a string. So let my string be cybroses, And currently this is a string, and I just need to convert this string into tuple. So in order to do so, we can just use the constructor. So I'll be providing the constructor over here. So as you just print the results here, you can see that now the terms I process will be split into individuals, which will be separated with the commas. In simple words, we can see that all these are objects and all these objects will be separated by commas. So you can just provide the object that you just need to print. And here goes the result, which is shown over here. Now let's try to add multiple arguments, or let's see how can we just pass multiple arguments or parameters over here. So in order to do so, let me just consider the other variable, which is tuple. Cons to, and yeah, let's use the constructor over here, and you can just provide multiple values, which are as Python, then put a comma in order to add the other value. Let's say, let it be course, Python course. And yeah, well said, we have provided that, and now we just need to get the result of this object. Okay, now let's click on run, and here you can see that we have got something error over here. So actually the tuple expected it must one argument, but we have just provided 2 arguments over here. So in order to solve this issue, we have to again provide a bracket, which means we have to provide a round bracket over here. And now you can see the typecasting will be 10, and you can find that the error will be just vanished from here. So you can just run the file and you can see the result now. We have just created a tuple using the constructor over here. Now we are just going to discuss about what is immutable. So when we just talked about what is a tuple, we also just defined what is immutable. So unlike list, we know tuple is immutable. This means that once a tuple is created, you cannot modify its size or its length, or we cannot just add or remove or change the elements once a tuple is defined. So we can say that the tuple is ordered as well as it is immutable. Ordered means it will have a sequential order, and we can just provide this indexing, which means we can say that we can just get the position of the elements. From that, we can just conclude that it is ordered. And we also told that a tuple is a mixture of values, which means it is heterogeneous. So when you're just defining a tuple, inside a single tuple itself, you can just provide multiple values such as integer values or string values, complex, or any type of values can be given inside a tuple. And we know the tuple can be accessed by indexing. That can be zero-based indexing, which means every values of this tuple will begin with 0. And that can also contain duplicates value. Now let's see how can we get the index of this. So let's say tuple 7 has got values over here. So for 7, yeah, let it be 5, 7, then yeah, we just need to give different values over here. Now I need to get the index, which means the position of each. So let me give the print function, because we just need to get the result over here. We just need to print the position over here. So we have to use a print function. Later on, you can just provide the name of the object, which is tuple 7, and we have to use a square bracket. And now we just need to provide position. So as I just provide the position here, when you just click on run button, you can see in the first position, the value is 7.9. Now what if I just print a position which is not included over here, you can see it will be out of range. Now I'm going to provide the position as 10. So I just need to get the element in the position 10. Now let's run this. So here you can see that the tuple index is out of range because we don't have 10 values over here. So instead, let me add it as 0. So if I set 0, you can see the value will be 5. All set. Now the other thing that we are just going to discuss is that tuple contains duplicate value. So if the values of the tuple is repeating, that's not a problem. We can just get that. So let me give the object name or the variable name as tuple, then let it be 8. And let's give the values over here. Let's define the tuple with multiple values. Yeah, we are just randomly providing the values. Okay, and now you can just print the object, just tuple 8, and you can see that we will be getting the repeated values over here. Now let's see, can we add an element into our tuple? So let me consider the tuple 8 itself, and we just need to add a value into that. So will it be possible to add a value? No, as the tuple is immutable, we cannot add a value into it. Not only adding, the removing or the other operations like changing the length of the tuple cannot be managed as it is immutable. We know we are just going to add the element into the tuple 8. So I'll be using the tuple over here, and we have to just define the position. Today we have to insert the value or add the value. So in order to get the position, we have to use the bracket over here. And let me say that I just want to insert value 100 into the position 1. So here you can just give the position, which means the indexing has. Afterwards, you can just provide the value. Now we can just print the object over here, which is tuple 8. And let's see, will it add or not? So you can just click on run, and this shows that won't print, and you will get an error message because this is not possible. This is because we know tuple is immutable. So from that we can say that we cannot add the elements or the objects into a tuple once it's created. So let me just comment this, everything. Now let's see how can we access the values in Python tuple. So Python provides two ways to which we can just access the elements of the tuple. So using of the positive indexing as well as using of the negative indexing. So let's go with the positive indexing first. So here you can use the square bracket that we can just get the values from the tuples. Okay, so let me define a tuple over here. So let's name it as positive, because here we are just going to get the values for positive tuple or positive in indexing, let's say. So 1, 2, then 3, as well as let's provide a string, cybroses, and I just need to get the positive indexing. So here you can just get values in. So I just need to get the values in the position, positive 0. So this is a statement that I'm going to give in the print function, and you can just put a comma, and here you can just provide the object, and in order to get the value you have to use the square brackets. And here we can just give the index, so let it be 0. And again, let's copy this and let's consider the other one. And let's say it as 3. And we just need to get the value of 3 over here. Now let's click on run, and here you can see that in the index of 0, we have got the value 1, which is using of the positive indexing. we have just got the value 1, and in the indexing of 3, we have just got the value as 5 rows. Now let's see how can we just manage or access tuple using negative index. So yeah, let's name it over here using the negative indexing. So I just need to change here it as negative index. Well said. Now let's provide the other tuple. So I'm going to name it as negative, as we are just dealing with negative. Or you can just consider the tuple which is defined over there. But I'll be creating a new one. So let's provide the values over here. And here you can see the objects of this tuple. Let's print the negative indexing. So I'll be using the same things over here, and let's make some additions. Okay. So let me give the negative indexing. So this is the statement. I just need to know the value of -1 and the position -1. What will be the value? So let's run the file. So as we just run the file here, you can see, oh, here we have just used the object as positive. That's why we just got the results of positive. So we just need to change it into negative because we are just going with the negative tuple. Now, as you just move on with the negative, you will be getting the result as QWERT. See, well, we have changed that. Now, I will just go with the other value. Let it be -3 and run the file. And here, you can see we have just got the value as 4. So what happens is that when we just use the negative indexing, the value will be accessed from backward. So as we just use a positive indexing, it will be taken the values from left to right. But in case of negative indexing, the values will be accessed as from right to left. So that's all for today. So I hope this video thoroughly explains what is tuple, how to manage a tuple in Python, and there are much more to discuss regarding Python, so that will be explaining through the second part. So do watch this, and if you have any questions or feedbacks or suggestions regarding this video, please give a comment. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching.